What's going on, Sarah? We're working on our patterns.
Uneven. The line, when I'm trying to put the straight line, it keeps being on.
Okay, where's the top of your skirt? Where's the bottom? Is this the top of your skirt?
Yeah.
Okay. And what is your waist measurement?
32.
And what you divided it by 2?
It got 16, then 20.
Okay, so if we're trying to do 20 inches, we want to flip this to the inch side.
See this part for the seam allowance for the 5/8 when I have to I'm trying to put a straight line, but the line keeps it's not
just
straight.
Practice. It's okay. So let's see. Let me see your pencil real quick. So when you're trying to do, she's trying to create her waistband. So we have the 0 inch, and we're just trying to measure it. We're not like making anything permanent yet. So hold on 1 second. We're gonna put the 12 here, but she has to get to 20.
8.
Yeah, thanks. Add 8 more inches here. And that will bring it to here. So what we generally do is see how much is left over. So it's like 1.5 inches. So we're going to divide that 1.5 inches for the edges because we don't want this line to be directly at the end. So we're going to move it about 1.5 inches in. Half. Let's say 1.5 inches. That's how much is down here, okay? So that's how much we're going to use for the seam allowance. So we're going to put 1/2 inch at this end, 1/2 inch at this end. That's our 1. And then half of a half is 25, so it'll be like 0.75 at each end. So almost a little bit over 1 inch at each end.
I need an eraser.
Yep, it's all about erasing. So we're going to start our line now for our waist measurement at the 1. And move that down to the 12 mark here. You're fine. And then now I'm going to scoop that down and add 8. You're fine. Add 8 more. And it ends me here. So the goal is to have the middle of the waist center in the middle. And you want to check the measurements. So you see where I put the marks at really quickly? I want you to recheck from here to here. Make sure that is 1 inch. It's a little bit over 1 inch. And then you're going to bring same ruler down here, line it up. And you see it's way over.
Yeah.
So you want to bring that line down to right there. See how that's the 1?
Yeah. So we have to do the same on here over here.
No, you don't have to move it down. See, okay. Let's see. Put this here. Okay. So I'm gonna mark it here. And then I'm gonna recheck it at this end. And mark it here. So now I know they're the same. They're even. Okay? So I'm going to take the ruler now. Working on the inch side. So now I see my perimeter in where I can draw. Where I can create the waistband for the top of the shorts. So I'm going to go make that line straight. And now I'm going to ink that so I can distinguish that line amongst the others. So get your pen. Get rid of that line. Let me see. Always, anytime when you're using pencil, you want to go back over it and ink. Where's your marker, your Sharpie? So that way that line will be distinguished, if you guys can see. That line will be distinguished amongst your other lines. And she went to get me a Sharpie, and we're going to fill this line in with the Sharpie. So that way it'll be more distinctive.
Oh.
Is this a Sharpie? No, this is a ballpoint pen,
Oh.
but it'll work.
Okay.
So we're gonna make sure that line is. It's okay. Make sure that line is in there really good, and that way you won't get confused with the other lines. Oh, sorry, went off course, guys. Trying to make sure my hand stays steady and use the camera so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing.
Will you do that?
Oh, that would be great. You're going to come across with a steady hand as possible. And we're going to go down to the edge of the waistband. Now, whenever you get your waist measurements, you always want to divide that number by 2. So her waist was 32. 32 divided by 2 is 16, but we're going to add 2 we added 2 inches on each side for seam allowance. So this is a 20-inch waist, and this is the front. And this is the waist. So whenever you pick this pattern up, you'll know exactly what it is, exactly what it's for. I always want to put a seam allowance. So this would be our seam allowance line, and I'm just eyeballing it. Standard seam allowance in America is 5/8 of an inch. So that is the lowest that you can go. However, your seam allowance can be whatever you desire. Seam allowance is just the amount of room given for movement. So I'm going to check that, but that looks about right. And it's 5/8 of an inch. On the seam allowance, you want to make sure that is indicated on your pattern. Everything that needs to be, every detail needs to be on the pattern. So if I pick this up, I know exactly what it is. So we're going to put girls. How you doing over there, Oz? Okay. 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 Girls shorts. And what size are you?
23.
That's European, sweetie. Like, are you a small, medium?
Oh, medium.
Medium. Okay. So everything needs to be indicated on your pattern, the sizes, who's it for. So these are girls' shorts. So now that we have her waist measurements, we're going to continue to follow that seam allowance line all the way over. And again, I've been doing this for a minute, so I'm able to kind of eyeball.
Just so I understand, so this line is 20, but then because there was one half space over here, we had to do the same on here. And
it's still 20.
And then this is the seam allowance, right?
Yep, that's the seam allowance. It's still 20. What we did is we just wanted to make sure it was in the center of the page. So it's still 20. So now we're going to measure the girth, which is the measurement from the top of the waist down to the crotch, and show you guys how to properly measure that. So
is that kind of like waist to hips, and is that different than waist to hip?
Hold on, back up a little bit, back up to the wall. To the wall. I'm gonna show them how to do a proper measurement. Okay, so for proper girth measurement, for proper waist measurement, we already know we're going to come around from the belly button, arm straight out for me, around to the front, that is the waist. For the hips, it is to go over the hip bone, over the buttocks area, excuse me, around to the front. For the girth, you always want to have your legs feet width apart in the apex position. And we're going to start with the 0. Line it up, hold it right there, at our belly button. And the girth comes through to the back and up to the top of the waist where you want it to stop. So her girth we'll put at 23. So you want to make sure that the girth is on the page and divide 23 by 2.
That was
It's like 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
Divided by
No,
not 2. That would be 26.
no. 23 divided by 2.
That's gonna be a point.
Let's do it. 23. Let's do it real quick. Divided by 2.
Oh, 11.5.
There we go. So, 11.5 inches. Math is a huge, huge part of what we do as far as the pattern making, making precise measurements. So math and science are key, especially when it comes to textiles. We have Oz over here creating her template for her lingerie panties, and we are done with her pattern, and she has translated that from pattern to fabric. So we'll look at her final product in a second. Okay, so for your girth, which is 11.5, you're going to take that from the top of the waist
And go to
down.
Would that be here?
Yep, that will be there.
So let me
You're going to mark that line.
wait, hold on. This is tape right there. Can I see the? I don't want to do it in a pen, but
You're going to have to eventually, but yeah, do it in the pencil first. Always draw everything in pencil first and then translate it.
here. There you go.
Okay, so you want to mark that line from the top of the waist, from the top of the waist down to that L. And you're going to make an L.
There.
Up. And we'll come right back and show you Zuri's final product on her pattern.